We spent quite a bit of time doing our educational master plan this year, and it's really the result of all of your work, but most especially the work of our Office of Institutional Effectiveness, so I'm sharing this presentation today with Bree Hayes. And what we're going to do today is we're going to give you the opportunity to weigh in on where this college is headed in terms of its strategic directions. And we've asked a few facilitators to help you do that. We know it's likely that the process will be messy. Mesa doesn't always do messy well, but we're going to try. But let's get started. So first of all, what I'm going to do is introduce Bree, and she's going to take you through the first part of this exercise.
Thank you so much, President Lester. All right, so if we could go ahead and move to the next slide. Thank you. So you're all aware that we completed our educational master plan, and it is being beautified by the College Communications Office. You know that there are various pieces to that master plan. We did a lot of research. We conducted focus groups with various folks on campus, and that was a huge undertaking. But the product of that is such an important piece of where this college is going and setting the foundation for the future. So what you have there on the screen is just an example of some of the things that were included in that educational master plan, the internal scan, the external scan. All of that information basically fed into our new strategic goals and directions, which is what we're going to really address today. Our strategic directions, they basically are going to tell us where we're going. There are high-level, overarching goals, if you will, meta goals. And as a college, we have identified 6 strategic directions moving forward. They set the foundation for where the college is going and where we're all going to be moving. Each of our programs and service areas is going to help contribute toward those goals in the future. They help us define how we do our work and where, again, we want to go in the future. So without further ado, here are our new strategic directions for Mesa College. And you should have them on at your table as well. They're on the parchment paper, so you have your little cheat sheet. So you can go ahead and take a look at those. So I'm going to give you a moment to just kind of take those in. And one of the things I'd like you to do is try to figure out where your service area, your program, where does your work, where do you see your work in those strategic directions? We as a college inform these strategic directions. You all provided feedback in those focus groups and interviews. So this is Mesa, truly. We want you to go ahead and kind of familiarize yourself with those and start thinking about how your work is in those different areas. So to just really quickly go over the highlights for these, our first strategic direction is to provide deliver advance and support an inclusive teaching and learning environment that enables all students to achieve their educational goals. Our second direction is to build and sustain a sense of community that extends across the campus and constituencies, nurturing collaboration, learning, growth, and diversity. Our third strategic direction is to build and sustain pathways in support of the comprehensive community college mission. Our fourth strategic direction is to support innovation in our practices. Strategic direction 5 is to support personal growth and professional development of our employees. And number 6 is to serve as stewards of our resources and advance effective practices in support of accountability. All right, so how do these fit in and how do these relate to what you do in your practice? You have a visual there on the screen that basically shows how these relate to your goals at your program service area level. So the overarching strategic direction is kind of the high-level 30,000-foot goal that the college has set. Underneath that is a strategic goal. So you see we've differentiated. Strategic direction is the overarching piece. The strategic goal is what you have on your parchment paper there. It actually defines what that direction is and makes it a little bit more tangible, hopefully, for all of our folks on campus. And then underneath that is where you, at the one goal, I should say there's a 30,000 foot for the overarching goal. You can think of it as a 10,000 foot level, that's the strategic goal. And then the program level improvement goals will be what's right in front of you. What's that 1 foot vision from where you are with your program or service area? And what is it that your program does that links back up to that larger direction and goal? So one of the things to kind of keep in mind about this is that we are all working toward these things as a college, and as a collective, that's how the college will reach these goals over the next 5 years. So to provide an example, we have our strategic direction number 4, support innovation in our practices. Underneath that, there is a strategic goal to advance new technology applications in the classroom and on campus. That's strategic goal 4.2. How does that look to an actual program? What kind of goal or improvement goal would that program set for itself that would do it, the different trainings for data. We also use Tiddly Minks and Hula Hoops. So the Hula Hoops program improvement goal is to create new electronic Hula Hoops laboratory and curriculum to align with industry standards and workforce needs. So that's how it would look at the program level. It's an improvement goal. It's directly tied to our college strategic goal and directions. So what is the timeline? Of course, when you set a goal, you don't want to leave it out there and not have a time frame for completing it, being able to assess your progress. So our educational master plan is for 2013-2019. So over the course of those next 5 years, we have annual priority setting that's going to help us reach those goals. You know, at Mesa College, we have a history of doing annual strategic priorities, reviewing our strategic planning scorecard, and seeing how we're doing toward those goals. And so we always review and revise and look at that data to inform next year's practice. So this is the Ed Master Plan timeframe, that 5 years with the annual planning in between. How does that look to you as a practitioner? How does it impact your practice and program review? Well, as you know, this year we're going to be starting our comprehensive program review this fall. And so we will be including data and providing a vision. Each of our programs and service areas will be setting that up for this next 3 years. And we'll be aligning it with the college-wide strategic directions and goals. And so we'll be setting that up for this year, and then we'll have 2 updates in the next 2 years to see where we are and to review and update those. But we will all be working toward that long-term 5-year outcome of achieving those strategic directions and goals. And as you know, the PIE Committee sets the annual priorities, reviews the strategic planning scorecard and data, and refines and makes adjustments based on that information. So that'll be the work that we'll be doing over the next few years. Okay, so so a few questions, like how does this apply to me and where are we going, what's the time frame? Does everyone have to address every direction at end goal? No, the college does overall, but you and your program will link to the ones that are appropriate to you based on your improvement goals and what you're doing in your service area or your program. Is every goal a top priority for every year? Again, the college is going to set those priorities annually, so we'll know over the course of the 5 years we need to accomplish all of those things, but we don't have to do it all in 1 year. We have to have a measured approach to reach all of those goals.
So what we've done is we've actually divided up the areas for today's activity. And what we're asking you to do is look at the strategic directions. And because number 1 is so big, we've actually broken it into 2 pieces. You might recall this time last year we had lots and lots of paper we were writing on, and it took us about 2 weeks to transcribe what happened at convocation last year. So this year we got smart, and I'd just like to thank the AV group for setting all of these remote sites up for us today, because this way will all of the information be captured on your laptop. So your facilitators, okay, next slide. So in your group you'll have at least 2 facilitators and 1 scribe on a laptop that will capture your fascinating thoughts. And you're going to brainstorm ideas for how your program or service area might address the strategic directions and goals. Each group will select 1 to 2 actions emerging from the brainstorming activity that will be shared with all of us. And each scribe will provide a comprehensive summary of what the group has brainstormed to the Office of Institutional Effectiveness. So what will happen when we get done today is each of the groups will share out their strategic directions and what they've set within it. And then all of this information will go to the Planning and Institutional Effectiveness Committee so that they can do the work of the college on our behalf. Okay, is that it? All right, nope, go back. All right, so in your groups, and we will come around and help you, we expect this to be messy. As I said before, Mesa doesn't always do messy well, but we're going to do messy today. Do the best you can, pick something you're interested in, and let's go. You've got about 25 minutes for this activity. And we're going to start with Group 1A. And where is Group 1A? Right here.
Good.
All right. So we didn't make it through all of ours. Let's just admit that right now. But we did have a great conversation about 1.1. And probably the big themes that came out of it was, first of all, that we need to dialogue about what a comprehensive community college is and exactly how we maintain that. We're open access institutions, we have lifelong learners, we have broad curriculum, and we need to dialogue about how to maintain that with the pressures of the state and how we're going to balance that. So that was one theme. We need to address our ADTs, within this goal and figure out how to maintain our curriculum through the ABTs so that we can continue to offer broad degrees. What else? More dialogue between departments, programs, and counselors, so more opportunities for instruction and student services to dialogue together to make sure that we can have comprehensive conversations about these things. And we also talked a lot about revising basic skills pathways. And let's see, this is writing course outlines with updated curriculum and how to get our students where they need to go as quickly and efficiently as possible with the best wraparound services that we can give them to be successful. And the last one was honors, to examine honors on this campus. Can we start advocating for honors sections? Can there be more dialogue with faculty about offering honors contracts and with students on their responsibilities in honors classes? So how can we better communicate that to campus as a whole? And I think those were the big themes for honors.
Thank you for reporting.
Okay, I can't really see that. It's a paragraph long, I don't have these bullet points, but basically we thought that participating in outreach to the community, having conversations with K-12 and continuing ed, we have some really good programs in place, working with West City, CE, on the Mesa College campus, providing bridging programs for students to make that transition more smooth. An idea was that maybe we have open houses for the community, perhaps invite members of the community into classrooms to see teaching observed. Jan Ellis was talking about taking students to teach in middle schools, to teach dance, fill in kind of a gap in middle school curriculum. Maybe even having a teacher exchange to give both college professors and high school teachers understanding of what we both do. Jonathan McLeod was talking about History Day, so high school students have a better understanding of what to expect from community college curriculum. Science fairs, I know, and math and sciences, they do good community outreach in that regard too. So the two themes emerged. Julie Barnes is pointing out connecting with high school students, and then high school faculty connecting with community college faculty. Let's see, Mesa student ambassadors. So Genevieve was talking about our student ambassadors who do really great work going into high schools. We're looking to expand into La Jolla and Patrick Henry high schools. Again, ambassadors at West City and other CE campuses to smooth that transition from non-credit to credit. I guess there's an MOU that the board signed with San Diego Unified, so we can share data, which is really a great, piece of information. We need pieces of information. Let's see, college presidents and high school principals talking about common programs. CTE programs have really nice models in terms of connections with high schools and perhaps internships. Faculty ambassadors, let's see. Yeah, I'm skipping down to 1.2, schedule courses. So we're talking about enrollment management. That's something that is really, we just began the enrollment management committee team and looking at how to balance the student needs. We've been mandated to, work with ed plans, really make sure that we're serving student needs, and there's so many. It's such a moving target. How do we negotiate that and maintain the comprehensive nature of our curriculum so that we protect our, one of the reasons why students come to Mesa is because of our, wide variety of courses that we teach.
More scans, environmental scans of who our student populations are so that we can draw on that information to shape our program.
Okay. And then, let's see, looking at what's going to happen with the ABTs, how that shapes our schedules, student needs, ed plans again, trying to see what programs 1.4.1, looking at LGBTQ programs to support high school students, bridge the gap between maybe high school experience and college experience, continue with great plans and counseling. Okay. All right. There's the last thing that we talked about. 1.4.4, providing tutoring services in support of student learning, really expanding our tutoring budget. This is pie in the sky. We know we had Tim at our table, so he was calming us down a little bit. But basically, how do we serve the needs of 24,000 students, student success funds, perhaps other SSP funds? We've worked on developing 2 classes now for tutor training that generate funding. Our 1 unit Ed 100 class and our Ed 100 or Ed 150 classes. That's it.
All right, thank you.
And let me just say, Jennifer will take care of all typos. She's an English teacher.
No problem. All right, group 2.
Okay, so our strategic direction was to build and sustain a sense of community that extends across campus and constituencies, I'm a math person, nurturing collaboration, learning, growth, and diversity. And we kind of had a running theme as we were going through each of these goals. And the running theme was, we do a lot already, but we do it in our individual silos or in our individual buildings or in our individual departments. And the running theme seemed to be, how do we outreach to each other? And how do we get out of our silos and tell everybody how wonderful the stuff we're doing in our own departments or wherever we're at is, and how do we advertise these different things. So that was kind of our running theme. So as far as opportunities to interact outside, right, field trips, social gatherings, the campus hour came back, as it has in the last 3 years, I think. That college hour, which when the quad finally gets there, would be, a great place for people to have those kinds of social gatherings. Lunches together, lunches with our students, maybe offering some kind of opportunities like that. Faculty lecture series, I think that was kind of, a lot of departments here said they do that already, but again, it's one of those things that is within their own departments and doesn't necessarily branch out to the other departments. So things like that. Our next goal, excuse me, collaboration and collaborating between student services and instruction to better serve our students. Interdisciplinary collaboration. So again, the idea of learning communities came up, and interdisciplinary learning communities, things about guest lectures, maybe having a biologist come explain to my math students why they need that particular subject or that particular topic, those kinds of things. Students giving demonstrations within the classroom. We had an example of maybe one of the athletes coming in and talking about the mathematics behind hitting a ball. I'm sorry, I think it's all math people, but this could be, any kind of interdisciplinary thing. And directed mini grants for interdisciplinary collaboration to help fund those kinds of things. Then we had cultural competency was our next goal. And again, learning communities, maybe with a cultural emphasis, study abroad programs. And then we got really clever, I thought, and things about how do we very simply bring things into the classroom? How can we take 5-10 minutes of time to talk about things that are happening in the world, or, different cultures, or, this month is Women's Month, let's talk about a famous woman in our discipline, or something along those kinds of lines, and actually bringing it down to that classroom level, and maybe sending out a classroom tip or classroom idea of the week, or idea of the month, kind of like we did with basic skills a couple years ago. Here's something you can try in your classroom, email that out to everybody. So we have those kinds of ideas. And then, so the next one was communication, which was another just theme. Lina came over and had a brilliant idea. First she plugged the mobile app, so she said, everybody get the mobile app. So I'm plugging it for her again. But she had a great idea of a flex workshop on how to advertise your events. Or it was Don Barry's idea, and Lina said it. It's a great idea. But I think a lot of us have these wonderful, wonderful events, and we're not sure even how to communicate it to everybody. How do we get it out there? What kind of resources do we have? And so maybe just a workshop or professional development on how to do that will help our events be more attended. So I thought that was really good. And then the last thing was on participatory governance, which I think we do well in general, but that can always be strengthened. That's one place that can always be strengthened. So things like information on who is in charge of what. We were talking about when I have a question, sometimes we don't know who to ask, and we spend more time trying to figure out who to ask instead of getting our answer. The committee structure, which I know is being worked on, but getting that information out, what committees are on campus, the structure of those committees, what they do, more accountability and assessment of our committee structure, and more transparency of not only the decision, but the decision-making process and the input that goes with it.
Thank you. Group 3.
So we have strategic goal number 3. So for strategic goal 3.1, which was collaborate with continuing education, K-12 and area universities to create and sustain a seamless pathway into, through, and beyond San Diego Mesa College. So as you can see, we have a lot of things that we came up with, but the two we want to highlight are career days that we hold at the high schools and with continuing education, and then our tech prep and articulation agreements that we have with the high schools and continuing education. For strategic goal 2.3, which was collaborate with local industry, 3.2, collaborate with local industries to build relationships and assure consistency with workforce needs. And from our long list, we selected 2 to highlight, which are our advisory boards and our work experience and direct clinical practice experience. And then the last one is our strategic goal 3.3, which is collaborate with area organizations and business to build internship opportunities aligned with student educational goals. And 3 to highlight here are community service that our students provide, field trips that our students participate in, and then our participation in local professional guilds and organizations as faculty, administrators, and staff, and then also encouraging the students to participate in the student chapters of those organizations.
Thank you very much. So we combined 4 and 5, and then we realized, they soon realized that we should have kept 4 and 5 separate, because there's a large group for both. So groups 4 and 5.
So for strategic direction number 4, our top 3 areas fell into, first of all, goal 4.1, support new teaching strands to apply learning experience and engagement techniques in support of student learning. And for this one, I guess it was pretty clear that we felt like we needed a richer, more comprehensive support for engaging the faculty and faculty training. And this was more in the form of help with distance education, effective learning and teaching practices, and institutional commitment for these efforts. So we are starting that somewhat, but more to support these efforts and faculty for the classroom. Okay, then also for strategic plan number 4.2, advancing new technology applications in the classroom and on campus. Now this kind of fell more in, the Mesa IT committee's area. This was to ensure we have a stable, predictable, reliable revenue source and commitment for campus and classroom technologies. Now this is more in the form of just the technologies that we need for the learning environment. The computers, the smart classrooms, and also for Wi-Fi. What we're finding out is students more so seem to be bringing their e-books to class, their electronic learning sources that they have on their tablets, on But unfortunately, either the bandwidth isn't large enough or we don't have coverage. Anyone ever run into that? Well, okay, so we would like to see that resolved and to help our students in that way. And then the last area was 4.4. This came up, was integrate, clarify, refine processes and decision-making existing with the district college interface to create greater efficiencies and effectiveness. Now this is somewhat, this kind of struck a chord with all of us in that we would like to see, I guess, a faster, more reliable response from the district concerning matters that affect the classroom and student faculty needs. And chief among those are things that really affect it, like, I guess, temperature controls. A lot of our new buildings, I guess, they're controlled directly from the district. Lighting from the district. And if we need those changed, we want to be able to get on the phone and say, you know, it's really hot in here or really cold. Can we change those? And instead of maybe 3 days from now, when they have changed, the temperature is better, maybe we can get those a little bit better, those services from the district. And, okay, the fourth one, institutional commitment for these efforts. And, this is good, the grants, including technology innovation, are motivated. And this was more of a collaborative effort with our college and our outside collaborators, perhaps businesses and other agencies. And this would be to be working with Anson Kubik, who's right there, with our foundation to make these things happen.
So we are dealing with strategic direction number 5. I'm an English professor and I can be loquacious, so I'll keep this short and direct. Basically, it's about support, personal growth, and professional development of our employees. And one of the things we talked about is the third one down, a faculty staff institute or resource center. We thought this was at the center of what we think could be improved. One-stop shop where we can go and get trained, we can find out all the information that faculty or staff would need, and have a really good website that is built around that. And some of the things that could go into that is more funding to attend conferences and professional growth, a streamlined funding application process, because right now it's kind of just all over the place. Faculty have to find something that they like and then go through department heads, and I mean, you've all dealt with it. So something that could be more centralized that would fall under that faculty staff institute or resource center. A shorter application time for sabbaticals and the ability to apply more than once a year. And then shared ideas amongst other colleges in the district. So more collaboration with other people, not just in our college. And then modify Flex to become more professional development focused. So one thing we thought, there was a lot of Flex that's information based, and we would like to see more Flex that's actually personal and professional development based. That's kind of educational in nature, not just information based. Create Flex activities to observe colleagues in classrooms. So if I wanted to visit someone's classroom and see how they teach, someone in my department, or if I want to do interdisciplinary sort of approach, I could go visit someone in the math department and watch them teach and get Flex credit for that. We think that would be kind of cool as well. And I know the math and sciences has already instituted that. And then for strategic goal 5.2, sort of the inter-collaboration, I think Scott was talking about how, say, a math teacher and an English teacher could swap days where I would teach his class in line with his syllabus, and he could teach my class. So he could bring some math principles to an English class, and I could bring some English or rhetorical principles to a math class, and just sort of work with other professors across disciplines. So we would share teaching experiences, and this would all go under that resource center. Revamp the Flex website. Who in here really likes using our Flex website? Besides Chris Sullivan, no one else. Just have it be more streamlined, where say maybe there's a keyword search at the top and I can type in writing, and then I can find all the Flex activities that deal with writing, or I can do it with math or something else. And group the areas and search by keywords. And then a smarter, more efficient, and less expensive smart classrooms. One thing we did want is campus-wide Wi-Fi that actually worked. in every classroom. That would be cool. And then just to reemphasize, the Learning Resource Center we think would be a nice hub, maybe just near the faculty cafeteria or near administration, so we could all be in one center area and we could get together physically as well as mentally. Thank you.
So our overarching goal, strategic direction 6, serve as stewards of our resources and advance effective practices in support of accountability. There's 3 sub-goals under that, and for the most part, the 3 of the 4 main points ran through them. And one of them was that faculty that needs interpretive services, there's not enough interpretive services there for them. So there's classes that they would like to offer on campus that they can't. There's also workshops and meetings they can't attend. So more resources for sort of on-the-fly interpretive services. We also want technology to be updated. For example, we're providing desktops and most faculty has to go out and buy their own laptops because that's what a lot of us are using. So keep that up to date. We also came up with a Wi-Fi that I've heard a couple times in terms of for students to have up-to-date technological resources as well. We also, and I heard this mentioned before, would like faculty to have more financial support in terms of attending conferences. So our strategy, if you scroll down to 6.2, no, just 6.2, advanced assessment of student learning at the course, program, service area, and institutional levels. We felt like one of the main ways that we could facilitate that was to increase our networking opportunities, which conferences would help. Then strategic goal 6.3, assure external accountability requirements are met. We feel that currently we do very well at this, but we have such a lag in hiring that we've got a lot of institutional memory in faculty that will be retiring in the next few years, and then a lot of new people, or relatively new faculty. So we want to do what we can to assure that things are well documented and that we include and sort of mentor relatively new faculty in these processes.
So now you just got a little glimpse into what the Planning and Institutional Effectiveness Committee does on a regular basis. And you gave us a huge jump start in implementing our educational master plan goals, and I appreciate the work that you do today.